I know you've been reluctant to talk about individual cabinet selections, but there is one, a former colleague of yours, Senator Sessions, that you once voted against when he was up for a federal judgeship.
As he points out, I led the fight against him.
Yeah, you led the fight against him in 1986 when he's up for a federal judgeship. Democrats said that he was racially insensitive. Republicans said that, in fact, he had prosecuted the Ku Klux Klan and this was all a smear. And you voted against him. He never got out of committee. Are you comfortable with the idea of an Attorney General, Jeff Sessions?
I was talking to Jeff on the floor yesterday. I wouldn't have appointed Jeff, but you know, people learn, people change. And my general rule is the president gets to choose who he wants or she wants for their cabinet members, unless either they're taking over the job with the express purpose of not enforcing the law in that area. Like, for example, the new guy, I don't know him at all, the EPA. Well, if he's going not to enforce Clean Air and Clean Water Act in the name of jobs, then that's not a guy you vote for. I voted against a former housing cabinet person. I voted against someone who headed the Department of Education in Reagan. He said, I want to get rid of the department. So within bounds, the president should get the person that they want for that job as long as they commit under oath that they're going to uphold the law.
It sounds like you think Senator Sessions will uphold the law.
I'm hoping he will. Let's see what he says in his confirmation hearing. Let's see what commitments he makes.
Who is the leader of the Democratic Party as of January 21st?
Like after every presidential election where the party loses, there is no single leader. There are voices that hopefully be heard. Hopefully, I'll be able to have a voice in the direction of the party. The President of the United States will. Obviously, Chuck Schumer will. Obviously, Nancy Pelosi will. There's going to be governors that are going to emerge. And so it's a contest of ideas as to which direction to take the party. After every single loss, when the political party that loses, they go and they do a retrospective, what happened? Where did we make a mistake? What did we do wrong? That debate is going to ensue, and hopefully the party will grow from it.
Chuck Schumer, liberal from New York City, Brooklyn. Nancy Pelosi, liberal, millionaire from San Francisco. Is there a voice that will represent Scranton in there?
I'm not going anywhere. No, by the way, I'm really not. I think 2018 is going to be a very good year for the Democrats because now these guys are going to have to say, not generically make America better, here's how I'm going to make America better. Let's have this debate and ideas.
Republicans control the House, they control the Senate, they will control the White House.
But watch when they do it. Watch the response of the public when they do it. I can hardly wait for these debates.
So what's next for you? You don't look quite ready for the rocking chair. No, I'm guessing you're going to do something.
No, I am. One of the things that I'm really focusing on now is how to continue my work on the fight against cancer.
Where are you going to be? You've ruled out running for Democratic National Committee Chairman.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a Biden center somewhere?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to be able to be in a position. I'm talking to some universities who want me to become engaged, who are prepared to give me a platform to have serious staff people of consequence. I am not interested in, and there's nothing wrong with it, going out with a corporation and making money or going to, I'm just not interested in that. I'm interested in having a platform where I can have a sufficient number of key staff persons who will continue to help me fight for the things I care about, whether it's promoting fighting against violence against women or promoting Central America growth and development. Not for money, for actually to have a platform to be able to make the case. And I think at least I'll have a shelf life of a little bit. I know that, you know, my dad, I always quote my dad, I know, but he said, it's a lucky person who gets up in the morning, puts both feet in the floor, knows what they're about to do and thinks it still matters. I've been doing this since I've been 26. I don't know what else to do.
Well, that's the thing. You first came down here in January 1973. And while you're not leaving public life, and who knows, you may return to elected office someday, this is putting an end to at least this chapter of elected office in Washington, D.C. Yeah. What are you proudest of?
Leaving here with a reputation among both Democrats and Republicans that never have misled anybody, and viewed as someone who has been honorable. That's what I'm proudest of, my name.
And what is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret are a couple of votes I cast. I wish I had never voted to repeal the legislation limiting banks what they could do, Glass-Steagall. I wish that I had been more persuasive and better able to end the crisis on Cyprus. There's practical things that I've worked on my whole life. But by and large, I'm proud of my work on civil rights and civil liberties and the LGBT community. Like I said, everyone's entitled to be treated with dignity, and that's what I've tried to do my whole career.